richest county in America is the one right outside of Washington, D.C., where not just the lobbyists, but also the defense contractors live, right?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and what do? They give to both parties and keep that system going.
So let me ask you, Cenk, how does voting for Hillary Clinton fix that?
See, I think that if Hillary Clinton wins, that she will finally reveal the liberal. See, I don't know, Jimmy, I don't know if you know this, but when she was 23, she worked for the Children's Defense
Oh my
Fund.
God, she helped kids in 1973.
So I'm voting Clinton 73. Okay, no, of course it doesn't help it, and I'm going to fight her from day one. I'm ready to primary her right now, okay? So that's like, look, we lost that battle. So that doesn't mean that it's a like that you give up or it's over. You find other ways to win more battles so we win the war, right? But we wanted Bernie. We desperately wanted him. Everybody that watches the Young Turks knows that, right? I spoke for him. I did everything I could, and we lost. So now, if you vote for someone, and that to me does not mean I love them, I support them, I endorse them. They're going to fix everything. They're going to fix anything. It just means of those two choices, one is better than the other. Now, you say there aren't two choices, and that's perfectly fair, right? And so...
Well, I kind of agree with you, what you're saying, but I have a different interpretation of that. So my thinking is this. Whether it's Trump or Hillary who's president, we being TYT and other progressives in this country, we have to fight like absolute hell. We have to fight like hell with either candidate to stop the madness and to instill some freedom, democracy, and liberty, and justice and equality, equality of opportunity everywhere, right? So we have to fight, no matter which one it is. Now, if your calculation is that, well, with Trump, we have to fight harder, it's a harder fight, and with Hillary, it's a slightly easier fight, and therefore we're going to vote for Hillary. That's a rational choice. I get that choice. And for people who are voting for Hillary, I don't hate them. It's a rational choice. At the same time, to me, I don't give a shit, okay? Because to me, they're so similar, I don't really care. So I'm going to vote for Jill Stein in California because it doesn't matter. I want third-party candidates to have as many votes as possible so that they start to have momentum. And whether it's Clinton or Trump, I'm going to fight like hell to make sure that our progressive causes are furthered.
So,
well, can I just say the best argument there in my mind is...
this is my show.
Sorry, my bad. No, you win that.
No, but you were going to say something good about my point, so go ahead.
Okay. But I wanted to say right now, Cenk, it illustrates my point. Because I say if Hillary Clinton is president, she splits the natural opposition to horrible right-wing policies. Right now, it's happening with Barack Obama. Barack Obama is the Democrat, he's the liberal, and he's pushing as hard as he's ever pushed for anything for the TPP. And so what does that do? That splits the natural opposition to the TPP. So now you got a lot of Democrats going, well, my fucking president says it's okay, so I'm going along with it. So that means that gives them cover for their donors. And everybody thinks Barack Obama, he's this liberal, which he isn't. So right now we're experiencing what Clinton's presidency is going to be like. What Barack Obama is doing right now is going to be 4 years of Hillary Clinton pushing right-wing policies and splitting the natural opposition. Now, if Trump is president, the natural opposition coalesces. We have all the Democrats together, we have all the independents, and purple state Republicans. And that's what we're going to have for 2 years. And then in 2 years, the House and the Senate flips. We have Democratic majorities in the House, and then in 2 more years, we get a real frickin' progressive after we get rid of Trump. But if Hillary is president, it goes solid Republican Senate and House forever. And then she's going to lose in 4 years, and then we're fucked. So I say, you talk about losing the battle but winning the war. That's losing the battle but winning the war.
Okay, so here's how I counter you guys. Oh, yeah, what about Trump? Okay, no, seriously. First, let me address what I think were really good points by you guys. So, Steve, voting for Jill Stein, if you agree with her more, in a blue or solidly red state, gives the third parties more strength, is a really good argument. Because you want more voices, you want that to be strengthened, And if you think it's not going to decide the election, then it's kind of a free vote for alternative voices. So, especially if you agree with her more. So I think that's the best argument for voting third party, and if you're really progressive, voting for Jill Stein. Jimmy, I think your best argument is, okay, well, if Hillary's president, well, 4 years from now, well, that makes it more likely that we're going to have a Republican beat her instead of a progressive beating her. So now we get Hillary Clinton, who's very conservative, then probably replaced by an even more conservative Republican. Now we've lost 8 years and maybe even more. Right?
Yes.
So that is why I plan on fighting her from day one. And so I'm not going to, you think I'm going to make the same mistake that everybody fucking makes is, oh no, let's trust our Democratic president. And I'm sure that, no, don't fight her. That saps her strength. No, fuck no. We are going to push her so hard like no Democratic president's ever been pushed. And from day one, I'm going to put out the note that a Republican is not going to beat her in 2020. It's going to be a progressive who beats her in the primary. Oh, you can't primary a sitting president. Says who? Says
Ted Kennedy
who?
did it. Ted
Oh,
Kennedy
yeah.
did.
Yeah, and oh, that's your rule? Yeah, that's because you're the fucking establishment. Of course you want to do that rule. I don't give a fuck about your rule. Here's my rule. Yes, we are very, 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 very likely to primary her, okay? Because you know why? Because we're right. She's not that progressive. Now, if it turns out we're wrong and she gets a fucking constitutional amendment passed, I'll go work for her, okay? You see what I'm saying? If she really kills the TPP and she brings back Glass-Steagall and she gets $15 minimum wage,
of course.
Are you kidding me? We wouldn't vote for her. We'd work for her.
But she's not going to do anything.
But she's not going to do that. And when she doesn't, we're going to come for her, okay? So just because you lose this battle in my way of thinking doesn't mean you lost the war. The war's just starting. So that's my sense of it. Now, I think you guys would have had a much, much, much better case if it was Hillary Clinton versus, let's say, a Rubio. There, the difference is now we're really arguing shades, right? So, yeah, everybody's always going to throw the Supreme Court at you, but now here we are with Obama appointing a guy who's pro-Citizens United, at least in his rulings. They say, no, don't believe what he says. And then they turn around and say, believe what Trump says.
Yes.
Right? Because Merrick Garland ruled in favor of actually strengthened Citizens United. Okay, but they say, no, he had to because of precedent. Maybe not. I don't really want to take that chance, right? So I hear you. And so Rubio and Clinton would have been, and by the way, Rubio would have done the same things. He would have said no on TPP. He would have said yes on TPP when he was president, right? Oh, I disagree with Hillary Clinton on this. And he wouldn't have killed the Paris Climate Treaty, right? He wouldn't have. He would have huffed and puffed about how global warming is a hoax, but he would have largely kept the climate treaty. So your argument would have been fantastic against another establishment Republican. As it stands, I think the establishment accidentally, because they really were not for Trump, they really weren't, okay? They accidentally lucked into a better option. Trump is such a monster that it's not as much of a shade of difference. It's a real difference.
Is it really? I mean, I know the things that come out of his mouth sound uglier. They're more vulgar. But is he really any worse than his running mate, Mike Pence, who speaks with a softer voice and has more polite words? But his policies are hideous and disgusting. And other than Trump's bombast, I don't really see a huge difference between him and all the other Republicans that have been running all these years. I mean, it's the same nonsense.
I gotta agree with you, Steve, because yes, Donald Trump appears worse because he's such an asshole, right? But he isn't yet a war criminal. He hasn't yet voted to invade another country illegally. He hasn't yet decided not to prosecute torturers, which is why he can stand on stage and say he's going to torture people, because our lefty president didn't prosecute the people who committed war crimes in our own fucking country. And now, you know what that means? It's guaranteed to happen again.